Good. Well, delighted to be having a chat with Rhonda and Charee. And of course, it goes without saying that we couldn't possibly have a tribute to the dude without mentioning and including Daniel's case, for which the dude, I think he had um, a particular passion for. Being both myself and him, we're law and order guys. I've got friends within the police force, um, but it just beggared belief that they would do this to one of their own. I mean, when did you guys get sort of involved in Daniel Holtzclaw's case?
Um, I uh, I learned about Daniel's case from JJack 61 actually over in Foul Play.
Hmm.
We were having a discussion about wrongful conviction cases, and he mentioned to me, "Oh my gosh, have you heard about this Daniel Holtzclaw?" And he nutshell version, he directed me to Daniel in the Den by Michelle Malkin,
Hmm.
and I was astounded.
Hmm.
And I knew in that moment that Daniel's case was going to be the case that I was going to, um, that was going to be my case.
Yep.
Stephen and Brendan, of course. Brendan, Brendan's got a place in my heart, just like a son. And so I've never left that. I never will leave that. But I knew that my energy and my focus and my drive and passion was going to go to Daniel's case. So
Right. Yeah. I mean, I just don't know where to begin with this. I have never seen that before, where the police would turn on one of their own, and for what reason? Just to make them look good.
right, yeah.
But I mean, we should just back up, I suppose, a little bit. This is obviously Daniel Holtzclaw, and it's based in Oklahoma City. Is where this all went down,
Correct.
where he's accused of having touched or um, lifted up tops of various women, um, most of whom are, shall we say, interested in narcotics, and so they sentenced him to 263 years. I mean,
Yeah.
it just seems it yeah, I said it seems like he's being made an example of, being made a scapegoat or something. It's I really don't get what they were hoping to achieve with all of this.
What the motive is, right?
Yeah.
Well, I believe, just with what research I've done in the last 6 or 8 months, I believe that the motive is 100% trying to keep him quiet, possibly. Now, let me just say, preface this by all of what I'm saying is speculation, because I don't know these things for facts except for what I have been able to get document wise. But you know, Daniel was a straight shooter at work, and he did his job and he did it the right way. And not everybody does. Not every police officer does. And he had some excessive use of force investigations through internal affairs, and all of them, he was I don't know if exonerated is the right word, um, but his name just kind of kept coming up in different things. And it all started with Janie Liggins, and that happened. That traffic stop happened, and then they just started piling on. The lieutenant of the crime sex unit created the list of a profile of the type of women that he would have assaulted, and unfortunately, that was basically Black women who lived in a certain area of the town, which is the area that Daniel, that was his patrol area. And they were Black women, and they had most of them had histories of drug abuse, some prostitution and things like that. And so they were able to create this whole, profile of who Daniel would have assaulted, and they made it all fit. They made it. They took a puzzle piece and they put the pieces together and then fed it to the accusers, to the ladies.
Yes, I mean certainly we hear one lady coming out of the sort of an interview room saying, off thinking that it's off camera and
Uh-huh.
not being recorded about, will that do? Is that okay? And is it Rocky Gregory?
Yes, the investigator Gregory
You
and
know,
Charee and Hill is the
yeah,
one.
yeah, and it's mind-boggling. I mean, did the jury see that?
No, oh no, 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 no.
All right, okay.
And as she's walking out, she's all relaxed, she's stretching her arms back like a good hour, 2 hour work done. And she says as she's walking out, even if he didn't rape nobody, he still shouldn't be contacting, people he's arrested. And it's just astounding that that was said and not
Hmm.
looked at
You
closely.
see, um, I might be wrong on this, but I got the sense that Daniel's actually quite a considerate fella, and he was trying to help some of these people.
Yes, yes.
You know,
Particularly with Shardarian Hill.
yeah,
Yes.
you know. But yes, I mean, I can understand that. Given the fact that the size of Daniel, he's he's very fit, very strong fella. If he was to grab hold of somebody, that they would know about it, wouldn't they? I mean, am I right in thinking that sometimes if things were kicking off, send Daniel in, they're not going to argue with him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, no. He was very proactive. He did a lot of community policing, and he believed in that,
Hmm.
and he really did care about these women, and what their lifestyles were. And he was started out as part of the gang unit, and for good reasons, for obvious reasons. And so they knew that Daniel could handle business, but that he would handle it properly,
Hmm.
and legally. And not every police officer feels that way. So
Yeah, and unfortunately, you do get you. That is a common saying, isn't it, amongst the public? It needs and hopefully amongst the police. That it should be the crooked cop that's afraid of the good cop rather than the other way around.
yeah, it is. And unfortunately, I think we've all learned that, especially if you come in as a rookie and you're watching all of your the folks that you report to, and lieutenants and sergeants and all, you're watching them. And even if you don't agree with what they're doing, it's wrong. You've just come out of the academy and you've just finished your FTO training, but you're watching these people that have trained you
Mm.
doing these um, you know questionable things and activities. And you could it could change a person's way that they're going to go as a
Mhm.
police officer. But that didn't happen to Daniel was very strong in his convictions and how he policed. And he didn't get in other people's business. And in Oklahoma, by the way, they don't travel as partners. They're single car
Mhm.
officers. And so others would respond to certain activities, of course, but it wasn't very often where they could really look around and look at their part. And I don't really want to bring this up, but for instance, in the trial that just finished last week or this week with Derek Chauvin, those two of those cops were rookies, and they were looking to Derek Chauvin to tell them and teach them and guide them. And what did they learn?
Mm.
But Daniel wouldn't have taught that way, and he wouldn't have operated that way. And so he was, a strong man and able to think for himself and do what he knew was right. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, hmm, it's as difficult I find to think of a motive to do this to Daniel. A much more difficult motive is to think why would Daniel have done this with these um,
right.
these much older, in a lot of cases, much older women who are, as we know, they were interested in drugs. It's just very bizarre. And um, I mean, is there a possibility at some point down the line that Kathleen Zellner, once she's dealt with Wisconsin, could get back on board. I realized that it was part of the problem was the distance, wasn't it?
Yes, and her heavy caseload.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Pardon me. Yeah, she did, as we know, she did start and working on his civil case, but she just, I mean, besides Stephen Avery's case, if you look on her website,
Oh,
she's got a
loads.
long list
Yes.
of,
Yeah.
yeah, and she took on Daniel's civil case at the time that she did, thinking that she could handle it, but and I'm not saying that she's not capable, but she knows her limits and she knows where, what's too much. And, that was the one that she had to just kind of give up because it was just, it needs so much attention just by the sheer volume of accusers that have to be, deposed and whatever, interviewed and whatever, was going to happen. And she just couldn't do it. And I would love nothing more that when the boys walk free, I still call them boys, but when they come free, when they walk free and they walk out of prison, I would love nothing more than for Kathleen Zellner to take the case back if we're still in that position, and continue fighting for Daniel, because like she said, these cases take 10 or more years to come to fruition. And I hope it doesn't take that long for Daniel, but it's possible it could. Now, the one bright spot that I'm really clinging to right now is the resignation of former Judge Timothy Henderson, who was Daniel's trial lawyer. And he's in a scandal right now himself. And I don't know if you've heard about it, but
yeah, I think I definitely got a message about it, that it's he's been up to no good, or at least
no good.
that's what it
And for
seems
the
like.
same things, for the same things that Daniel was sent to prison, that he sent Daniel to prison for 263 years, allegedly. And so, that could also, my complete lack of knowledge of the law that way, but what little bit I did study in college, it's a possibility that if any of former Judge Henderson's accusers were a part of Daniel's case in any way, that Daniel's case could be reheard. I don't know that. That's just my hope I'm clinging to. So, but I'd love to see Kathleen Zellner come back. We hope for that.
And is there also a possibility that if all of these people who basically made up stories about Daniel, or at least about Daniel, are pursuing this civil compensation, that there could be information, or there could be facts being come to light during these hearings that could be beneficial to Daniel? Have I picked up that right?
It's certainly possible. I don't know a lot of details about the women, as far as who's been deposed and who's a part of the civil case, and I don't know a lot of details, but there certainly could be something that could come from that. I hope. I can't imagine it doesn't at least get brought up somewhere where it matters. You know what I mean? I just but yeah, I mean, if they decide to relook at Daniel's case because of the Henderson affair, tongue in cheek, then then certainly I would imagine that some of these accusers, testimonies or claims might be brought up as well. Of course, they would have to be, I would think. Charee's the attorney. I don't know.
Okay. Listen, we're rapidly running out of time. This is one of these Zoom calls, and it's saying there's 1 minute 21 seconds left. So I'm going to say, thanks very much for coming on and having a chat, and we look forward to hearing about the case further on Sunday. And please, if you ever get the chance to say to Eric, send my best regards, because I think it's hellish what they've put into. Anyway, ladies, I'm going to say cheerio, and we'll catch you soon.
All right. Thank you very much, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
You're very welcome. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.